North Korea showed off what one expert called a monster new nuclear missile over the weekend that could overwhelm U.S. missile defense systems. Here is what we know so far. North Korea unveiled a new intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, in a military parade to mark the 75th anniversary of North Korea's ruling Workers' Party at the stroke of midnight on Saturday, October 10th. According to North Korea analysts 38 North, the Hwasong-15 is estimated to be 25 meters to 26 meters in length and 2.5 to 2.9 meters in diameter. That's about 4 to 4.5 meters longer and about half a meter wider in diameter than the Hwasong-15 ICBM, which was flight tested only once in November of 2017. The Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington estimates the range of Hwasong-15 at 8,500 to 13,000 kilometers. Experts believe the Hwasong-16 has a similar range, meaning it could hit anywhere in the continental United States. However, the new two-stage liquid-fueled ICBM is assumed to have a larger strategic payload. The Hwasong-15 is thought to be configured with a single warhead. Experts speculate that the Hwasong-16 could carry as many as 4 warheads, which would greatly increase the burden on U.S. missile defense systems. It's huge, weapons expert and deputy director of the Open Nuclear Network Melissa Hannum told Bloomberg. She called the new ICBM a monster. The ability to carry multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles greatly increases the chances of landing a hit because multiple interceptors would be required to take down just one warhead. That's assuming the thing actually works when it's tested, because North Korea has a mixed track record when it comes to testing its rockets.
North Korea's birthday celebrations for Kim Il-sung turned sour as the pariah state tried unsuccessfully to launch a ballistic missile. U.S. defense officials said the failed launch was detected and tracked by the U.S. Strategic Command on Thursday. The news is a setback for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, as the reclusive nation today marks the 104th anniversary of his grandfather's birth. Citing military sources, South Korea's Yonhap news agency said the missile that failed to launch was most likely a Mushudan. The Mushudan, also known as the Mirim, No Dong-bi, and BM-25, is an intermediate-range ballistic missile. Yonhap said Thursday's unsuccessful launch was the first time North Korea had tested the Mushudan. The single-warhead missile, which is based on a Russian R-27, can carry an estimated payload of 1.2 tons. The Mushudan has an estimated range of 2,500 to 4,000 kilometers, meaning it could strike South Korea, Japan, or U.S. military bases in the Pacific Ocean, such as on Guam. This isn't the first time the Supreme Leader's birthday celebrations haven't exactly gone off with a bang. In 2012, North Korea also failed to launch a long-range rocket on Kim Il-sung's birthday. Seems like fireworks just aren't good enough for the eternal President of the Republic.
North Korea has fired its missiles into the Sea of Japan yet again. According to a statement from South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, North Korea has launched additional unidentified short-range projectiles on August 2nd. The statement didn't mention the exact number of missiles that were fired. The missiles were launched at 2:59 a.m. and 3:23 a.m. from Yonghung in South Tangyong Province. Both landed in the Sea of Japan. This is the third time North Korea has fired projectiles in the past 8 days, according to Reuters. On July 25th, North Korea launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles identified as KN-23 off its east coast, according to the Korean Herald. The first missile flew around 430 kilometers, while the second flew around 690 kilometers. Both flew at an estimated altitude of 50 kilometers before landing in the Sea of Japan. On July 31st, North Korea fired 2 more unidentified ballistic missiles from its eastern port of Wonsan. According to the Korea Times, both of the missiles were estimated to have flown around 250 kilometers at an approximate altitude of 30 kilometers before landing in the Sea of Japan. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said they are monitoring the situation and are maintaining a readiness posture. North Korea had stated that the missile launches are intended as a warning to South Korea over its joint military exercises with the U.S. later this month. According to Reuters, Pyongyang also said the joint military exercises could also cause a shift in its talks with the U.S. The country warned it may put an end to its freeze on nuclear and long-range missile tests that have been in place since 2017. U.S. President Donald Trump reacted by referring to the missile test as very standard and said he would be willing to negotiate with Kim Jong-un despite the North's consecutive missile launches.
A new study by Stanford University's Center for International Security and Cooperation reports that North Korea continues to build nuclear weapons. Open-source satellite images featured in a report by Stanford University's Center for International Security and Cooperation show that North Korea has not stopped production of nuclear weapons. Reuters reports that spent nuclear fuel generated in Yongbyon, North Korea's main nuclear plant, appears to have been reprocessed in May 2018. Researchers believe North Korea may have also produced 5 to 8 kilograms of weapons-grade plutonium. The report estimates that North Korea may have created an additional 5 to 7 nuclear weapons using plutonium and highly enriched uranium. Experts who participated in the study told Reuters that they believe North Korea doesn't have the capacity to reach the U.S. However, neighboring countries such as Japan and South Korea are still in danger. North Korea has stopped conducting nuclear tests. In 2018, the country did not flight test missiles of any range. That's right, Rocket Man hasn't been able to play with his rockets. However, he may have a chance to play with a different kind of rocket in the future. Siegfried Hecker, one of the authors of the report, told Stanford CSIS, "We propose that North Korea, South Korea, and the U.S. explore cooperative efforts to demilitarize North Korea's nuclear and missile programs and convert them to civilian nuclear and space programs." Space rockets don't sound half bad, huh, Kim? Pyongyang successfully test-launched a new type of submarine missile, or so they claim. North Korea's state news agency KCNA has released images of what it says is a new type of submarine-launched missile. According to the agency, the projectile was fired in vertical mode in the waters near Wonsan Bay on Wednesday. The SLBM, or submarine-launched ballistic missile, is called Hwasong-15. Reuters reports that it uses solid fuel and is a nuclear-capable missile that's been tested since November 2017. According to the BBC, it is capable of flying up to 1,900 kilometers. South Korean officials say that during the Wednesday test, the missile flew 450 kilometers before landing in the East Sea. The Hwasong-15 also reached an altitude of 910 kilometers before landing, nearly twice as high as the International Space Station. The BBC reports that Pyongyang has carried out 10 missile tests this year, but have only fired short-range projectiles. And unlike previous tests, Kim Jong-fat wasn't there to witness this one, which apparently was great success. North Korea is working on a sea weapon that'll send your rubber ducky quacking. The North has begun work on a second submarine-launched ballistic missiles test stand barge. According to 38 North, it resembles old Russian PSD-4 test barges. The barge reportedly measures 9 meters by 22 meters, making it around one-third of the length of the Sinpo-class submarine. According to submarine expert H.I. Sutton, the old Soviet raft could be sunk to a set depth. And then the missile would be launched from a central tube.
The Pentagon successfully shot down an intercontinental ballistic missile target using its upgraded long-range interceptor missile in a missile test on Tuesday. The ground-based defense interceptor was launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, while the ICBM-class target was launched 4,200 miles away from the Marshall Islands. A ground-based defense system flies into the path of an incoming missile target before releasing an exo-atmospheric kill vehicle. The kill vehicle destroys the target by sheer force of impact outside the Earth's atmosphere. The missile test was the first of its kind in nearly 3 years, and a positive result indicates the Defense Department is able to defend the U.S. from a warhead launched from North Korea.
Kaboom! Hell hath no fury like a fatso dictator scorned. North Korea blew up the joint liaison office in the border city of Hwasong used for bettering ties with South Korea after days of rising tensions on June 16th. South Korea's Ministry of Unification has confirmed the story with a statement registering its deep regret and protest over the North's action. According to the BBC, the Joint Liaison Office was established in 2018 to improve communications, though industrial cooperation in Hwasong was already halted by 2016. The Guardian reports South Korea evacuated the liaison office in January due to the coronavirus pandemic. North Korea issued a statement saying, quote, "We have exploded the eyesore North-South Joint Liaison Office," adding that, quote, "There are nothing to be implemented and no future for the North-South relations." North Korea leader Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong has been making threats to demolish the liaison office. The BBC reports that during Kim Jong-un's absence in April, several observers speculated that Kim Yo-jong could become his successor. North Korea's cited reason for destroying the site was that defectors have ballooned propaganda leaflets over from the south. And there goes the neighborhood. Want to learn more about North Korea? Well, there was a gunfight on the border back in May. Soldiers fired at each other across the Korean DMZ on Sunday, according to the South Korean military. North and South Korean troops exchanged small arms fire in the demilitarized zone on May 3rd. Citing a statement from the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Korea Herald reports North Korea fired first but inflicted no casualties on South Korean forces. According to the Yonhap news agency, North Korean troops fired multiple shots at a South Korean outpost early in the morning, while the garrison returned 2 shots. The South Korean military states North Korea apparently fired, quote, unintentionally. The state-funded news agency cites the military as saying the morning's fog would have obscured firing targets. Additionally, the ground occupied by North Korean troops offered no tactical advantage over the outpost. The 155-mile or 250-kilometer-long DMZ is heavily defended by mines, fences, and guard posts, and rates as the world's most militarized border. The border clash occurred a day after North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un seemingly re-emerged in public to inspect a fertilizer plant, according to an image published by North Korea's state-run KCNA. Speaking to the Japan Times, Ewha University International Affairs professor Leif Eric Easley says Pyongyang may have orchestrated the shooting to raise military morale and gain leverage to make up for reports of Kim's possible demise. Separately, on May 3rd, Yonhap reports officials in Seoul believe that Kim is alive and that the dictator has not undergone surgery, citing an anonymous governmental source. Also, we covered this story when little Kim, who is not at all little, disappeared in April.
Today we're going to continue looking into North Korea and the sudden reappearance of Kim Jong-un, you know, in those photos that people claim are his body double. NK Daily, a South Korean newspaper with informants on the bad side of the border, claimed that the Hermit Kingdom's Pyongyang officials scrambled together in a 48-hour panic and mysteriously organized that ribbon-cutting function of the fertilizer factory we saw just to prove he was alive. The report also claims that said factory is unfinished and inoperable. The newspaper's informant said, for 2 days the construction workers fully devoted themselves to preparing the ceremony. They worked themselves to the bone day and night to create the appearance of a finished factory, coating the outside of the building and fitting it with glass. The source claims that in addition, all factory personnel and even their families were mobilized to plant flower beds and clean the roads within the factory grounds. Despite this mass mobilization of labor, no one had any idea that it would be their supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, that would be opening the factory. The insider said nobody on site expected that the event would involve Kim Jong-un himself. Everyone knows that construction was not complete. The factory has also encountered difficulties importing modern machinery and raw materials to produce the phosphatic fertilizer it was built for, or being built for. The Central Committee of North Korea reportedly issued an order that the factory must have at least 2 production lines running by October 10th, the anniversary of the founding of North Korea's Communist Party. Currently, the majority of the fertilizer used in North Korea comes from their pals in China. Kim Jong-un's sudden re-emergence at the factory after a strange 3 weeks out may have been an attempt to draw attention to the fruits of North Korea's frontal breakthrough strategy, as well as to rally and inspire increased food production amid the country's food shortages. However, this doesn't explain why he was away from the public eye for so long. Mintaro Oba, a former US official who worked on North Korea, told ABC, "The blunt truth is that we can speculate all we want about where Kim Jong-un was and why he disappeared, but we simply don't know. If he was hiding out to protect himself from the coronavirus, as South Korea said, then that would contradict North Korea's claims of 0 coronavirus cases." Stay tuned as this story unfolds.
Why all the sound and fury about a backwater totalitarian state? Short answer, they have missiles and nukes.
North Korea has continued development of its nuclear and missile programs, according to a confidential United Nations report seen by Reuters. According to the report, the country conducted 13 missile tests last year and launched roughly 25 missiles. This included new short-range and submarine-launched ballistic missiles. It mentioned that North Korea has continued to develop infrastructure and capacity to enhance its missile program. The UN report says that the country also exported tons of commodities such as coal using Chinese barges, even though North Korea has been banned from doing so since 2017. DPRK-flagged vessels would transfer over the commodities to local Chinese barges, a method known as ship-to-ship transfer, which would then deliver the goods to ports in Hangzhou Bay and the Yangtze River in China. In a statement, China called the accusations baseless and said that it is implementing UN sanctions against North Korea. According to the report, North Korea also continued to illegally import refined petroleum using the same method. Reuters reports that the country has been allowed to import 500,000 barrels of refined petroleum under current sanctions, but the report found that North Korea exceeded the limit many times over between January 1st and October 31st of last year. According to Reuters, North Korea's allies, Russia and China, have both raised concerns saying that the UN sanctions are causing harm to civilians in North Korea. The United States, France, and Great Britain have all said that sanctions should not be lifted. Reuters reports that North Korea has been sanctioned by the United Nations since 2006. Members of the UN Security Council have imposed harsher sanctions against the Hermit Kingdom over the years to deprive the country of funding for its nuclear and ballistic missile program.
For more news, animations, and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the Tomo News family. Thanks for watching.